everybody, it's Chrissy from Knit in the Heights. Welcome to my channel. This is my June podcast where I talk about things knitty and crafty related that I've gotten up to in the last month. Today we are going to focus on a couple of works in progress as well as a finished object. And at the end of this podcast, you will see some scenes from around New York. Gabriel and I got up to a couple of really fun adventures between May and June. The weather has been beautiful here in New York City. It's getting a little bit hotter. It's definitely getting more humid. And when it's hot and humid in New York, it doesn't smell the best. If you've never been here, there's just a lot of people, and a lot of people make a lot of smells. So anyway, let's get into some of the knitty content. So we're gonna start with finished objects. So last month, and I think the month before, I had started knitting a sweater for my cousin who is having a baby. She's having a baby boy it's supposed to be born in October. And so I knit the Pinson Cardigan. It's this really fun little pattern. This is the 3-month size. And what's really fun about it is that this section here with all the stripes is actually brioche. And it's knit in 2 beautiful fingering weight yarns. The first is from a homespun house. It's this main color here. It's called Hogwarts Revisited 2021. And I believe it was the club colorway. It was kind of like the Hogwarts colorway for homespun house at that time. And then the second color is Box Turtle from Miss Babs. I had gotten it in a kit to make a shawl project, which I didn't end up making. I started it and then I wasn't enjoying the shawl at that moment. It's actually a beautiful shawl. I just didn't want to make it, but I loved the colors and I thought that these two went really well together. The homespun house is actually a sparkle yarn. It is a silver stellina, and I found these great buttons on Etsy that are navy sparkle. I think you can see the sparkle in them. Every baby needs a little sparkle in their lives when they are first born. So yeah, I think this is something that will be treasured. I hope that she takes good care of it, and I hope that it's something she can actually hand down through the years to, you know, if she has other kids, this will be her first child. If she decides to have other children, I wanted to do this in the colors that she likes the best, and these are definitely gender neutral. So this baby's a boy, but you know, if she has any other children, it won't matter because it's definitely gender neutral. So anyhow, this was a really fun knit. The pattern was very easy once I got past the brioche. This is only the second project I've done in brioche, and I talked about this, I think, in the last podcast where I had messed up a little bit on the increases, and I had dropped a stitch somewhere and I tried to fix it, and as we know, brioche is notorious when it comes to fixing things, so it didn't work out so well. So I had to redo the brioche section, but it was great. It was great fun, and once I got back into the rhythm of it, it turned out well, and I think the stitch definition was beautiful. I haven't even blocked this yet, so I think given the, you know, the fact that I haven't blocked it, it actually looks pretty good. I will block it before I give it to her. Her baby shower is scheduled for August, so I'll block it right before I give it to her. But yeah, I think it's a beautiful sweater, little cardigan. There's a lot of buttons on it for a little guy, but you know, that's okay. And this is something that could be worn, I think, when the baby's really small. She'll probably just need to cuff up the sleeves, and then can be worn until, you know, 3 to 6 months. So that's going to get the baby through the winter as well as the spring. So I hope it's worn a lot, and I hope she enjoys it. So my next project, so I have 2 works in progress I'm going to talk about today. One is from this last Christmas, my Christmas Eve cast on, and I have a hoe. So this is just a vanilla sock. It was originally going to be a pattern sock. I was going to do the Fairy Lights pattern by Helen Stewart, and I do think this yarn would have lent itself really well to that pattern. I just didn't have the capacity to do that. This has been, I don't want to say this year has been really challenging. I mean, it's probably the same amount of challenging as any year has been since I've been a single parent, but I don't know, I just haven't had the brain space to do a ton of like really highly complicated things, and especially when I'm knitting on a sock. Right now I'm gravitating towards either really simple texture patterns or really simple repetitive patterns. And that pattern, if you know it, it has like a whole section up here that it's not necessarily the most repetitive pattern. And I had basically just started the rib, which is an easy peasy twisted rib. But that's as far as I had gotten. I put it down because I just didn't have the capacity at that time to do the pattern. So Gabriel just ran out of his bath. Pardon the interruption. I wanted to make sure that everything was good. Anyhow, yeah, so once I decided to just turn it into a vanilla sock, it became knitting on the train. It became knitting while I was binge watching shows when I just didn't have a lot of ability to do other things. I could do a few rows on it. So I have been dealing with this pinched nerve situation. So I've been very mindful of the amount of knitting time I spend knitting, because every time I knit more than like, I would say an hour to an hour and a half in a day, I do find that some of the, not all of the symptoms of the pinched nerve come back, but I do find there's a little bit of a setback in my pinched nerve, and like I get a little bit of numbness in the fingertips, and not so much pain as much, maybe just a little bit of pain, but I definitely get tightness. And so I just have to be very aware, I think, for the next few months of how much time I spend knitting, which is a challenge. But given my current schedule and how busy things are, you know, if I can get an hour in a day, that actually feels great. So yeah, so I'm really pleased with how it came out. The colorway, this is from Dandelion and Dogwood, and this was the 25th day skein from that Advent calendar, and it's called Northern Lights, and I think it is a perfect representation of what the Northern Lights looks like. It's also on a Stellina sparkle base, and I really like this Stellina. It's very frosty looking, which I think adds to the idea of it being the Northern Lights. So I'm trying to see if you can see any sparkle. Yep, I think you can catch some sparkle in there. So yeah, that was really enjoyable. And I have started the second sock. I'm keeping this in a bag that I got from Stitching the High Notes from Joanna, which is one of her, I think it was like a Christmas a couple years ago. And first of all, the colors match perfectly, which kind of makes me happy. But I did start the second sock, and I am on the rib. I have not finished the rib on this because I've turned my attention to another WIP, something that's long-standing. It's a little bit more engaging than a sock, but that's where I am right now on that. So yeah, so I'm enjoying this sock, and you know, I'll finish it eventually. And for my final work in progress that I'm going to talk about today, I'm going to be pulling out a shawl that I started last year on my birthday. My birthday is on July 2nd, and I felt like it's been a year and it's been sitting for most of that time without any work on it. So I thought that this would be a great time to take it out. So the shawl I'm working on is called the Golden Oak Shawl by Nim Teasdale. And I'm knitting it in 2 single ply yarns. The first is from Sweet Sparrow Yarns. It's called Turion, and it was from, there was a club that I had joined that is called the Celtic, I think it's the Celtic Folklore Club. She did like a year and a half ago or so. And this is one of the colorways. It's this really beautiful gray with navy blue throughout. I think it's the Celtic God of Storms, if I remember right. But it's a really pretty color. And I wanted to find, on my birthday, I wanted to find a second single ply yarn that would go well with this, but complementary colors, so that it would pop and you can make a really pretty 2-colored shawl. So this was the first yarn. And the second yarn I found was by one of my favorite New York dyers, Murky Depths. If I remember right, she dyes from the Upper West Side, I believe, but she is a local in New York City. And I went to Nitty City for my birthday to basically find one skein of yarn. And I found this really beautiful skein of yarn, which now has a knot that I'm trying to unknot. Here it is. It's in her Harbor base. The other one's in the Sandpiper base. So this is her Harbor base. And the color is called Blood and Dried Roses. Yeah, I believe. And so together, they're like that. And that is a pretty good representation of the color. This has been a fun knit to do. It's pretty simplistic, at least at the point I'm at now. So I'll show it to you where I've gotten to. And so last July, I had knit up to this marker. And so I just picked it up, and you can see I've added a little bit. But what's really nice about it, it's very simplistic. It's mostly stockinette. It has some garter ridges, and then it has some really pretty areas where you have these stitches, like the second color comes in, and then you have slip stitches. So it creates this really pretty pattern of kind of like boxes. And what's cool about the way the pattern works is the beginning is, once they get you started in the main color, they just tell you to make your choice of where you want to do your garter ridges and your color placement to have those second color pops. You can do that kind of wherever you want. You just have to then get to a certain number of stitches. That allows you to start the lace pattern. And the lace pattern is really extensive, and that's what really drew me to this pattern in particular, is that the lace pattern is actually this oak leaf pattern. It's absolutely beautiful, really glorious. I think hopefully by the time I get through the plain knitting, then I can work on that lace. And I do enjoy lace knitting, so I think it'll be really pretty. It'll be a really nice kind of neutrally type shawl. I mean, yes, there's a pop of red, but this is actually right in my wheelhouse of colors. Like right now I'm wearing navy blue and white. I wear a lot of like dark reds and kind of those like, I don't even know, grays that I wear a lot of red, gray, black, navy blue, those kind of colors. So I think this will be very versatile. I think it'll look really great with like jeans and a t-shirt actually. So I'm looking forward. This is one for me. This is a shawl that I definitely wanted to knit for myself as like something that I would really enjoy. So yeah, I'm working on it, and I think it's coming really well. There's nothing complicated at all about this pattern. Again, a great knit to do when you're binge watching TV. I took it on the subway 2 days ago going to work. Yeah, and I was very knit. I got through like one row, like one direction. With knit stitches. But yeah, I'm enjoying knitting it. It's living in this really cool moon phase project bag. And I don't remember who the maker is, but I got it off Etsy. But yeah, it's a really nice little bag for this project. Very squishable, which is useful because then I put it in my, I have a front, like a one strap pack that I wear. And the stitch markers I'm using, and here comes Gabriel. And the stitch markers I'm using are actual natural pearls that I got. There's another great shop on Etsy that does natural pearl stitch markers, and that's basically, from what I remember, that's all they do, but they're all different colors. So yeah, that was a really enjoyable, that's been a really enjoyable knit and something different that I haven't done for a while. So now that we are done talking about the knitting, I'm going to go ahead and pull our prize winner for our giveaway. Before I do that, let me just show you, and excuse the crinkling, what our giveaway winner will be winning this month. So I am doing giveaways around the equinoxes and solstices, and we just had the summer solstice here in the northern hemisphere. I do know some people that watch this are in the southern hemisphere, but let me just show you what they'll be winning. So we have this skein of craftily dyed yarn in the colorway Firefly. It's really pretty. It's a 50-gram skein, perfect for socks. I'm throwing in this really cool contrasting color. It's called Wisteria, if I remember, Wisteria Lane from A Chick That Knits. And we have a set of really pretty stitch markers and progress keepers from So Sweet Violet. Just as a note, none of this is sponsored. I am actually gifting this to our winner. So our winner, and congratulations to her, her name is KCL, Kayciel. So if you're seeing this, message me, send me an email at my Gmail account. It's knittingintheheights@gmail.com. Congratulations, and I hope you get to enjoy a wonderful summer of making socks or whatever you choose to make with this yarn. And you can hear Gabriel playing in the background. Let's just do a little life catch up. And with that catch up, I'm going to say I have opened an Etsy shop. So I have an Etsy shop now. It's called Knitting in the Heights. And what I've decided to do, I really enjoy creating things. I don't always have the capacity to physically make them myself, but I do enjoy creating things, not just things that are not just things that are knitting related, or just knitting, or not just musical things, because I am a musician. But I thought I would actually take the opportunity to play around with some technology. And so I was introduced to the idea of using AI bots to create artwork. And I've had such a blast doing it. It's actually super addictive, where I've tried to be as creative as possible and take all of my interests and all of the nitty kind of interests that I know other people might have, and just kind of come up with some really cool graphics that I could put on things and have things made. So I did create a new logo, and you would notice, if you know my channel, you'll see that. Gabe asked if he could see it. Yes, you can see it in a few minutes, Gabe. It's not here right now. I'll show you in a minute, okay? But like a new logo for my channel using this. I've been able to create some really cool, like fantastical kind of knitting related and music related imagery, all of which is free of copyright, because it's just free of copyright because it's a bot creating it. It's actually super funny. I'll actually put a couple of images in here that I did just for fun. I decided to ask the AI bot to create what they think Beethoven's Sixth Symphony would look like as a landscape painting, and I was very pleasantly surprised. So I'll put those in here. I think they're absolutely beautiful. I'm actually seriously considering turning those into something. But I'm utilizing a company called Printify that's going to, I've actually created the artwork and how it will look on the item, and then if people are interested, they could purchase it through there. I am aware that the shipping is kind of high, but given I don't have the capacity to buy a lot of stock and do it myself, this is how I'm starting. So if you're interested, head over to that shop. I'll put a few other pictures up that you can look at some of the things that I'm creating. I am going to see how this goes. I am just having fun playing with these bots and creating funny looking things. So if any of that's interesting to you, or there's something that you think that you would love to see created, I'm more than happy to indulge everybody and see what could be created. So put a comment down below if you want to give me a prompt to see what kind of artwork this bot can come up with, because some of it is absolutely hilarious and some of it is actually really just cool. I mean, some of the things I created, I asked it to create a picture of Mozart playing the viola in a baseball stadium. Because why not, right? And one of the pictures had Mozart playing a cello, which that doesn't surprise me, but he gave him 6 fingers. Or there was just a random bow coming out of like somebody's nose, so it's just hilarious to me. But some of the things are just really beautiful and really fun. So just head over to my shop if you're interested. I'll also put a link down below in the description box in case you just want to check it out. As far as those proceeds, I mean, because I don't have anybody sponsoring me, some of those proceeds will go towards like gifts for the, prizes for the channel, as well as, just trying to create a second source of income for myself here in New York City, because the cost of living situation is significant. Things are getting more expensive here in New York City. Food's getting more expensive. They're raising public transportation rates, and my salary is not going up. Unfortunately, when you're a nonprofit music education, even if you are a director, it doesn't seem to matter. It's just, it doesn't go up, and you're not in it for your paycheck. You need a paycheck, but you're in it because you love the work and you're passionate about what you do. So anyhow, I know that Gabe and I would love, even if you just want to follow the shop, just to see what kind of craziness I come up with from time to time. And if you want to comment down below, I actually have this idea of I'm creating mostly mugs and stickers and a t-shirt. I have one t-shirt up right now that are based on my logo, but I have like mostly mugs and stickers of other things. But there's some mugs that I'm really interested in creating that have like funny swear words in other people's languages, but they look fancy. Let me know what you think about that. I am a swearing positive person. I do swear a lot, not around children, but I do swear a lot when I'm amongst my people. And I try not to swear on the podcast. because I know for some people that's hard. And if there are little kids around, being an educator, I'm very sensitive to that. But let me know what you think. I think it's kind of funny. I'm just kind of having a ball with it. And also, in other news, Colleen is coming next week. That is really exciting. She's going to be in New York City for about 3.5 weeks, I believe. That sounds right. So she's coming here and she's going to have her first experience of really living in New York City. Not coming for a vacation, not coming for just a few days, but really living here and experiencing what it's like to live in New York City. I think this will change her view of how it is to live here, because visiting New York City feels very different from living in New York City. She is going to be going to one of our summer camps that I run. We'll be running 4 summer camps this summer, one Manhattan, Brooklyn, and then the Bronx. Those are each for 2 weeks, and then a very short one in Queens that is specific to percussion. What's really cool is these are free to our students. Colleen is actually a student in my program. She has been a student in our program when we were completely online. So it's really exciting to have her join her friends in person. She does know some of the people at the camps, which I think will be really fun for her to just spend some time with them and get to make music on the clarinet. So you may see some video of her in the next month carrying around a clarinet on subways. Can't show a lot of the rest of it because I don't have permission to share it on this channel. I can't, I mean, I can share myself and Colleen, but I can't share the other kids. But I will say it's going to be a fun summer because I'm going to actually do a little bit of teaching this summer, get my hands back on my viola. And I'm going to be co-teaching the pop music class where we're going to be teaching covers of Rihanna and Lizzo. And what else are we teaching? Actually some DJ Khaled and Justin Bieber, and yeah, just a lot of really fun music. Some tunes from Into the Spider-Verse. If you don't realize this, I actually get to choose the music. So these are actually my choices to play this summer, which may seem strange because I'm a classical musician, but I do like a lot of different kinds of music. And I try to find music that really the kids will like to play as well, but is also not only age appropriate. We did choose the clean versions of everything for them to listen to, but it's age appropriate and also something they would want to play. And that gets them really excited about playing, so that when they're spending 6 to 8 hours a day at camp, summer camp during the day, they're not going to just be complaining the whole time that they're playing classical music and be bored. So that's what it's all about. Yeah, so thanks so much for joining me today. I will be putting some video at the end of this. You're going to get to see Gabe and I. We've gone a few places that were kind of cool, actually. So one night I took myself out to see the Harry Potter exhibition here in New York City, and that was pretty epic as a Harry Potter fan. I really, really enjoyed that. It's still going on here, so if you happen to be visiting New York City and you're a Harry Potter fan, just look online for tickets. It's one of those kind of pop-up exhibitions that's around for a while. But I will say it was 100% worth the money. And it's really close to Macy's. It's close to Koreatown. So it's a cool neighborhood to kind of check out. Then we went to the Hamptons to visit my dad and his fiance. They'll be getting married in September. And so it was really nice to spend some time with them and spend time with her family. So I have just a few pictures from that. I didn't have a lot of video from that because we were just doing family time. And I was doing a lot of knitting, actually. And then the final thing we had on Juneteenth, we went out, Gabriel and I decided to make a day of things. And so I took him someplace we'd never been. You know, there's so much to do in New York City, and I'm so busy with work and he's so busy with school and just life. Sometimes we just don't think to do things. But I was like, you know what? Let's find some free things to do. And one of the things that I hadn't done yet was take Gabriel to the High Line. I had never been there either. And it says it's an elevated train track that they turned into a public park. And it's really cool. And at night they actually have amateur astronomy people that go there, astronomy clubs, and they have telescopes that you can go look. So that's a really cool idea for a date night, or like if you're visiting the city and you want something free to do at night that's fairly safe and you know, a really nice place to go. I would highly suggest that. They have really good views of, I saw the Empire State Building. I could see the Chrysler Building at one point. You can start in Chelsea and then walk your way north, closer to, like 32nd, 33rd Street. So we walked up there, and you'll see the park, but then we ended up at Hudson Yards, where they have this huge like architectural thing called the Vessel. There's lots of pictures of it. People take pictures in front of it all the time. But the Hudson Yards is actually like a mall, and there's also it's a really high-end mall, by the way, a very high-end mall. And but they have some really nice places to eat in there that are fairly reasonable, like Shake Shack. So we went to Shake Shack, which is one of Gabe's favorites. And he got chicken fries, which is all he wanted. And I got a really yummy burger and some fries and a Diet Coke. And we had a great time, you know, just walking and spending time outside and getting a little bit of vitamin D, which I definitely need because I'm actually vitamin D deficient, and that's not uncommon, but I'm really vitamin D deficient. So I need to build up my melanin reserves this summer a little bit. So yeah, so that's what we got up to. I hope you enjoy the video. Yeah, if you have any questions, feel free to drop me a line. Feel free to check out my Etsy shop, and I'll see you next time. Have a great day, everybody. Bye.
Here comes the sun, doo-doo-doo. Here comes the sun, and I say it's alright. Little darling, it's been a long, cold, lonely winter. Little darling, it feels like years since it's been here. Here comes the sun. Here comes the sun, and I say it's alright. Little darling, their smiles return into their faces. Little darling, it seems like years since it's been here. Here comes the sun. Here comes the sun, and I say it's alright. Sun, 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 here it comes. 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 funny when I tell the punchline wrong. I know you get me, so I let my walls come down, down. Before you met me, I was alright, but things were kinda heavy. You brought me to life. Now every February, you'll be my Valentine, Valentine. Let's go all the way tonight. No regrets, just love. We can dance until we die. You and I will be young forever. You make me feel like I'm living a teenage dream. The way you turn me on, I can't sleep. Let's run away and don't ever look back. We drove to Cali and got drunk on the beach, got a motel and built a fort out of sheets. I finally found you, my missing puzzle piece. I'm complete. Let's go all the way tonight. No regrets, oh, just love. We can dance until we die. When I will be young forever. You make me feel like I'm living a teenage dream. The way you turn me on, I can't see. Let's run away and don't ever look back. Don't ever look back. My heart stops when you look at me. Just one touch. Now, baby, I believe that this is real. So take a chance and don't ever look back. I'ma get your heart racing in my skin-tight jeans. Be a teenage dream tonight. Let you put your hands on me in my skin-tight jeans. Be a teenage dream tonight.